Hello and welcome to the AWS Certified AI Practitioner Practice Test Set 2. This video is part of the AWS Certified AI/ML Bootcamp series. On behalf of the Cloud Expert Solution team, I would like to thank you for joining us and exploring this video. In this video, we will cover 20 certification style questions and help you identify key phrases in each question that will guide you to find the correct answer. We will review every answer options and provide clear explanation on why that answer option is correct and why the other options are incorrect. By watching this video without skipping any content, you will gain a solid understanding of the type of questions you can expect on the certification exam. This is not an AWS Certified AI Practitioner certification dump. However, we have carefully curated these questions to reflect the style and format of the actual exam. We have a lot to cover, so let's dive right into it. We'll start with question number 1. The question number 1 is saying a state library wants to build an AI application using large language models, LLMs. The application will extract key points from the scanned documents, transcripts, and online articles. Which solution will meet these requirements? And here are the 4 options. If you want to independently review or if you want to independently answer that question, you can pause the video here, find out the correct answer, and resume this video. We can review together. Let's review some important phrases. The question is expecting to identify the solution which can extract key points from the scanned documents, transcribe, and online articles. The term transcribes could be deceptive. With that term transcribe, do not select Amazon Transcribe because Amazon Transcribe is primarily used for converting speech to text. Let's review all the options one by one. The first option is saying use Amazon Transcribe to extract named entity from the documents. Amazon Transcribe is primarily used for converting speech to text. It does not have the capability to extract named entities from document. Named entity recognition is typically handled by Amazon Comprehend. Hence, this is not the correct answer. Moving to the second option, create a recommendation engine. A recommendation engine is designed to suggest items to user based on their preferences and behavior. It does not extract key points from the document or transcribe content. Hence, the second option is also incorrect. The third option is saying develop a summarization chatbot. A summarization chatbot can use LLMs to extract key points from the scanned documents, transcription, and online article. This solution aligns well with the requirements to summarize and extract key information. Hence, this could be a potential correct answer. Let's park this option and review the last option. The last option is saying develop a multi-language translation system. While a multi-language translation system can translate text between languages, it does not inherently extract key points from documents or transcription. Hence, the last option is also incorrect, and this will give us the correct answer as option 3, which directly addresses the need to extract key points from various type of contents using large language models or LLMs. Question number 2, it is saying an analyst organization makes forecast each quarter to decide how to optimize operations to meet expected demands. The company uses machine learning models to make this forecast. The AI practitioner is writing a report about the trained ML models to provide transparency and explainability to companies' non-technical stakeholders. What should the AI practitioner include in the report to meet transparency and explainability requirements? The key phrases in this question, we need to provide transparency and explainability, and the users are non-technical. Now let's review all the options. while providing the code for model training can offer insights into how the model was developed, it may be too technical for stakeholders and does not directly address the model's behavior or decision making process. And we have non technical stakeholders. Hence, this option is not correct. Moving to next option, including sample training data can help stakeholders understand the type of data used to train the model, but it does not provide a clear explanation of how the model makes decisions. Additionally, sharing training data might raise privacy and confidentiality concerns. Hence, this option is also not correct. The third option, include model coverage tables. Model coverage tables provide information about the scenarios or conditions under which the model has been tested. While this data is useful for understanding models' robustness, they do not directly contribute to explaining how the model makes decisions. Hence, this option is also not correct. The last option is saying partial dependency plots or PDPs. PDPs are useful for visualizing the relationship between a subset of input features and the predicted outcome of the model. This can help stakeholders understand how changes in specific features affect the model's prediction, and that is why this is the correct answer for us. Moving to our question number 3. Question number 3 is talking about a medical college has built an image classification model to predict cancer stages from CT scans and MRIs. The institution wants to evaluate how many images the model classified correctly. Which evaluation metric should the company use to measure the model's performance? In terms of key phrases, from this option, we need to identify the metric which is applicable for classification model. Then we want to evaluate how many images the model classify correctly, and also we want to measure the model's performance. Let's review the option one by one. The first option is saying R squared score. R squared score is relevant for regression, not for classification models. Hence, the option 1 is incorrect. Option 2 talks about accuracy. Accuracy measures the proportion of correctly classified images. Hence, this could be a potential correct answer. Third option is talking about learning rate. Learning rate is a training hyperparameter, and this is not an evaluation metric, or this is not a metric to evaluate model's performance. Hence, learning rate is also not the correct answer. The last option is root mean squared error or RMSE. RMSE is again relevant for regression. This is not an evaluation metric for classification model. That is why RMSE is also not the correct option for us. Hence, the correct option is accuracy, and accuracy measures the proportion of correctly classified images in a classification model. Moving to question number 4. An online retail organization wants to use domain-specific model to create a chatbot to help customers. The organization does not want to create a new model from the scratch. The company instead wants to adapt a pre-trained model for their specific requirements. Which machine learning strategy meets these requirements? In terms of option, the first option is talking about increase the number of epochs. Number of epochs are model training hyperparameter, and that does not address adapting a pre-trained model. Hence, option 1 is incorrect. The next option is use transfer learning. Transfer learning allows the organization to fine-tune a pre-trained model for their specific domain, meeting their requirements efficiently. Hence, option 2 is the correct answer. Let's move to option number 3 and review that option as well. It says decrease the number of epochs. Number of epochs is a model training hyperparameter, and it does not address adapting a pre-trained model. Hence, The option 3, decrease the model epoch, is also not the correct answer. And the last option is use unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning not directly related to using a pre-trained model for specific task. Hence, option 4 is also not the correct option. And that leads us to option number 2, use transfer learning is correct option for this question. Moving to question number 5, an IT company wants to use generative AI to increase developers' productivity and software development. The organization wants to use Amazon Q Developer. What can Amazon Q Developer do to help the company meet these requirements? In terms of important phrases, the question is asking to increase developer productivity in software development process, and it is asking Amazon Q developers characteristic. Now let's review all the options one by one. Option 1 is saying create software snippets, reference tracking, and open source license tracking. These features of Amazon Q Developer directly enhance developer productivity and it will streamline the software development process. Hence, option 1 is a potential correct answer. Let's review the other options as well. The second option is saying run an application without provisioning or managing server. The option 2 describes serverless computing and this is not relevant to Amazon Q Developer. Hence, option 2 is not a correct option. Option number 3, enable voice commands for coding and providing natural language search. This is not a primary focus of Amazon Q Developer and this is not an Amazon Q Developer feature. Hence, option number 3 is also not a correct option. And the last option is talking about convert audio files to text documents by using machine learning model. Converting audio files to text document is a feature of Amazon Transcribe, not Amazon Q Developers feature. Hence, the option number 4 is also not correct. That leads us option number 1, create software snippets, reference tracking, and open source license tracking is the right option for question number 5. Moving to question number 6, an online retail company wants to create a chatbot using a foundation model on Amazon Bedrock. The foundation model needs to access encrypted data stored in an Amazon S3 bucket. The data is encrypted with AWS KMS managed keys, that is SSE KMS. The foundation model encounters a failure attempting to access the S3 bucket. How can the organization resolve the issue? In terms of important phrases, if you can identify, we need to access encrypted data which is encrypted with AWS KMS managed key. And the first hint may be the foundation model does not have access to the KMS key or does not have decrypt privilege using the KMS key. Now let's review all the options. Option 1 is saying ensure that the IAM role Amazon Bedrock assumes has permission to access the KMS key. This seems address the permission issue with KMS key. This option directly addresses the permission issue with KMS key that will allow the foundation model to access encrypted data. Hence, this is a potential correct answer. Let's review the other options. Second option is saying enable public access for the Amazon S3 bucket, which is a strictly no-no and AWS does not recommend enable public access on S3 bucket which has company specific data and this is not secure and it will not address KMS permission issue. Hence, option 2 is incorrect. Option 3, use prompt engineering techniques to assign correct permission to the foundation model. This is not relevant to permission because using prompt engineering, you cannot fix AWS KMS permission issue. Hence, this option is also not correct. And the last option is saying ensure that the S3 data does not contain sensitive information. While this is an important consideration that you should not use any sensitive information at the time of model training, but it's not related to the permission issue. Hence, this option is also not a correct option. And that leads us option 1, ensure that the IAM role Amazon Bedrock assumes has permission to access the KMS key is the right answer. Navigating to question number 7, an online retail company is using Amazon Bedrock to develop an AI application. The application is hosted in a VPC. To meet regulatory compliance, the organization has made the VPC private, blocking direct access to any internet traffic. Which AWS service should the organization use to establish private connectivity? Couple of important phrases. The application is hosted in a VPC. The VPC is private. It is blocking direct access to any internet traffic, and we need to establish connectivity securely or privately using AWS backbone network. The correct option is private link. But let's review the options one by one. The first option is saying AWS private link. AWS private link ensures private connectivity to AWS services without internet traffic, and that meets regulatory compliance standard. Hence option 1 is potentially correct for us. Let's review other options. The second option is saying AWS site-to-site VPN. Site-to-site VPN connects on-premise data center networks to AWS or other cloud hyperscalers with AWS. This is not relevant for internal VPC access without internet. Hence, AWS site-to-site VPN is not the correct option. The third option is NAT gateway. NAT gateway involves internet traffic. If you have any applications or if you have applications running in virtual machines or EC2s in a private subnet, and if you want to reach internet, you can use NAT gateway in public subnet. Hence, this is not compliant with our requirements, and NAT gateway is not the correct option. The last option is Internet Gateway. Internet Gateway provides internet access to VPC, which is not allowed or exactly opposite for our ask. Hence, Internet Gateway is also not the correct option, and AWS Private Link is the correct option for this question. Moving to question number 8. An online retail company is using Amazon Bedrock to develop an AI application. The organization wants to make the application efficient and should respond any customer's query with lowest possible latency. Which metric measure the runtime efficiency of operating AI models? In terms of important phrases, the model should respond any customer's query with lowest possible latency. That means we need to find out the response time or average response time. And we have to find out the metric which measures the runtime efficiency, that is the average response time. Let's review the options one by one. The first option is saying customer satisfaction score or CSAT. CSAT is a metric that uses artificial intelligence to analyze customer interactions and predict their satisfaction level. It does not measure the runtime efficiency or the average response time. Hence, this is not the correct option. Moving to option number 2, training time for each epoch. Epoch and training time, these are models hyperparameter and these are related to model training. These are not for runtime efficiency. Hence, this option is also not correct. The third option is saying average response time. Average response time directly measures how quickly the AI model responds to request, and that indicates its runtime efficiency. Hence, option 3 is potentially correct for us. Let's review the last option, number of training instances. Number of training instances indicate training data volume. This is model's hyperparameter and related to model training. This is not a metric and we cannot measure any runtime efficiency with number of training instances. Hence, option 4 is also not correct, and that leads us average response time is the correct answer for us. Navigating to question number 9. A research firm is using the generative AI security scoping metrics to access security responsibilities for its solutions. The organization has identified 4 different solution scopes based on the metrics. Which solution scope gives the company the most ownership of security responsibilities? In terms of important phrases which can determine the option, we want to review security scoping matrix to access security responsibilities and the option which will provide us most ownership and security responsibility. Now let's review all the available security scoping matrix option. Scope 1 is consumer app, where we are using public generative AI service models like PartyRock, ChatGPT. Scope 2, if you want to use any enterprise app like Salesforce, Einstein GPT, Amazon Q Developer, and you are using an app or software as a service which has generative AI feature. The third scope could be you are using pre-trained models like Amazon Bedrock based models, and you are building your application on a version models. Alternative option or scope is you can fine tune a model like you have Amazon Bedrock customized models, or you can use Amazon SageMaker Jumpstart, where you have chosen a base foundation model and then fine tune that model with your data. And the last option, you can self-train a model or create a model from scratch. You can use Amazon SageMaker. Now in all those scopes, scope 1, you have least ownership and least responsibility. Scope 5 will have the highest level of control and responsibility over the model security and compliance. Now let's review the given options. First option, fine-tune an existing foundation model using business-specific data. In this option, you will have highest ownership, but you still relies on pre-existing model. Hence, this is not a correct option for us. The next option is saying use an existing foundation model from Amazon Bedrock. If you want to use an existing foundation model, here you will have moderate ownership with less control over the model's foundation. Hence, this is also not a correct option. The third option, build and train a foundation model from scratch, which was in our diagram the option number 5, which has the highest level of control and responsibility over the model's security and compliance. Hence, this is the correct option or the potential correct option. The last option is saying use a third-party enterprise application with embedded GenAI feature like Amazon Q Developer or Einstein GPT. In this option, you will have lowest ownership as security is managed by the third-party provider. Hence, this is also not a correct option for us. That leads us build and train a foundation model from scratch is the correct option for question number 9. Navigating to question number 10. Any media company uses AI-21 Labs Jurassic 2 to implement an AI-based search tool. The company wants to fine-tune the model to be more accurate by using the organization's data. Which of the following strategy will successfully fine-tune the model? In terms of important phrases, the question is saying AI-21 Labs Jurassic 2. That means the company is using Amazon Bedrock's base model. The company wants to fine-tune Amazon Bedrock's base model. And let's review the option. Option 1 is saying provide label data with the prompt field and the completion field. This approach directly addresses the need for fine-tuning by providing specific examples that the model can learn from. Hence, this is a potential correct option for us. Navigating to option number 2, prepare the training dataset by creating a .txt file that multiple lines in .csv format. This format is not specific to fine-tuning requirement, Because for fine tuning, you need the data to be in .json format and the data should be in Amazon S3 bucket. Hence, this is also not the correct option. The option number 3 is saying purchase provision throughput for Amazon Bedrock. This is a distractor and it can create confusion. Purchasing provision throughput is required only after fine tuning, specifically if you want to use the custom model to generate inferences. Purchasing provision throughput is not needed for the fine tuning process. Hence, option number 3 is incorrect. Last option, train the model on journals and textbooks. This is too general and not focused on label data or fine tuning. Hence, this is also not the correct option for us. And that leads to provide label data with the prompt field and the completion field. This is the correct option because these are the correct attributes should present in the .json format of the sample data. Navigating to question number 11, a public library wants to build a generative AI or Gen AI based search application by using a foundation model from Amazon Bedrock. The company wants to know how much information can fit into one input prompt. Which attribute of the model should the company review? In terms of important phrases, we need to identify the attribute which will help us to find out how much information can fit into input prompt. That means here we need to identify the context window or the number of tokens that an AI model can handle. Let's review the options. The option 1 is saying model size. Model size relates to the model's overall capacity and complexity. Model size impacts performance, but this is not related to input limits or not directly to the input prompt length. Hence, model size is not the correct option. Option 2 is temperature. Temperature controls the randomness of the output and this is not the input prompt length. Temperature affects creativity but not the input size. Hence, temperature is also not correct. Option 3 is batch size. Batch size tells us the number of prompts that the AI model can process at once and that affects the model throughput. But this does not provide information on individual prompt length. Moreover, batch size is related to training iterations, not a prompt size. Hence, batch is not the correct option. And the last option is context window. Context window defines the maximum length of the input prompt the model can process and it directly limits how much information you can include in the input prompt. Hence, context window is the correct answer for us. Navigating to question number 12. A call center of a security camera supplier wants to create a chatbot to help customers. The chat will help solving technical problems without human intervention. The organization choose a foundation model from Amazon Bedrock for the chatbot. The chatbot needs to generate responses that adhere to company approved messaging and tone. Which solution meets these requirements? In terms of important phrases, we have one foundation model from Amazon Bedrock that is used to create a chatbot and the chatbot needs to generate response that will adhere to the company approved messaging and tone. Now let's review the options. Option number 1 is saying define a higher top K value for the model. Higher value of top K increases response diversity but does not ensure specific messaging and tone. Hence, higher top K or option 1 is not the correct option. Option number 2 is saying experiment and refine the prompt until the foundation model produces the desired response. Here we are talking about prompt engineering. This approach allows for the fine-tuning the prompt to ensure the chatbot's response align with company's approved messaging and tone. Hence, option 2 is potentially correct option. Moving to option 3, use batch inferencing to process detailed response. Batch inferencing improves efficiency, but it does not influence response content. Hence, option 3 is not the correct option. And last option is define a higher number for the temperature parameter. Like top K, temperature controls randomness but does not ensure specific messaging and tone. If we increase the temperature parameter, we can get exactly opposite result what we are looking for. Hence, option number 4 is also not correct. And that leads us prompt engineering or experiment and fine tune the prompt until the foundation model produces the desired response is the correct option. Navigating to question number 13. An independent software vendor or ISV periodically evaluates its systems and process with AWS marketplace auditors. The company needs to receive email message notification when any compliance reports available. Which AWS service can the company use to meet this requirement? Let's review important phrases. AWS Marketplace Auditors, this is a distractor and it can create confusion. With the term auditor, do not think AWS Audit Manager is your right option. The question is asking receive email notification when any compliance reports available, and you need to find out the AWS service which provides compliance report and capability to send message when new compliance reports are available. Now let's review the options. The first option, AWS Data Exchange. Data Exchange facilitates third-party data uses, but it cannot provide you notification or email notification whenever new compliance report arrived. Hence, Data Exchange is not the correct option. Second option, Amazon Simple Email Service. This is a distractor. Since the question is asking email message notification, people can think Amazon Simple Email Service could be the option. But Amazon Simple Email Service used to send emails, but it does not have any compliance tracking capability. Hence, Amazon Simple Email Service is also not the correct option. The third option is AWS Audit Manager. Audit Manager focuses on auditing AWS uses. This service cannot be used on receiving compliance report or get an email on the new compliance report arrival. Hence, Audit Manager is not the correct option, and that leads us the last option is AWS Artifact. AWS Artifact provides access to compliance reports, and it can also be configured to send notifications when any new reports are available. And that makes us AWS Artifact is the correct option for us. Navigating to question number 14. A medical research organization has developed an ML model for real-time image classification. The company wants to deploy the model to production so that model can be invoked from different web applications. Due to the limitation in infrastructure knowledge, the organization is looking for a solution to host the model without managing any underlying infrastructure. Which AWS service can the company use to meet these requirements? In terms of important phrases, we need a model which will provide response in real time, and the company want to host that model without managing any underlying infrastructure. That means the question is hinting you towards serverless option. Let's review the options one by one. The first option is saying use Amazon SageMaker serverless inference to deploy the model. This option provides a serverless, scalable solution for hosting and serving ML models prediction without managing infrastructure, and it seems solving all our purposes. It could be a potential correct option for us. Let's park it and review the other options. Option 2 is saying use Amazon CloudFront to deploy the model. CloudFront is for content delivery, and CloudFront is not designed to host any ML model. That is why CloudFront is not the option. Third option is saying use AWS Lambda to deploy the model. AWS Lambda is suitable for serverless APIs or to host microservices, but it is not to handle large models or high frequency requests. efficiently. That is why AWS Lambda is also not the correct option. The last option is use AWS Batch to host the model and serve prediction. Batch is designed for batch processing. It is not for real-time inferencing, and we have real-time inferencing requirement. That is why AWS Batch is also not the correct option. For us, Amazon SageMaker serverless inference is the correct option, and this is the perfect use case for Amazon SageMaker serverless inferencing. Navigating to question number 15. A call center company is using Amazon Bedrock to run foundation models. The company wants to ensure that only authorized users invoke the model. The company needs to identify any unauthorized access attempts to set appropriate identity and access management policies and rules, future iterations of the foundation models. Which AWS service should the company use to identify unauthorized users that are trying to access Amazon Bedrock? Couple of important phrases. We need to identify unauthorized access attempts. That means we need to identify audit trail, and we need that to improve the AWS IAM policies for future iterations. Now let's review the options. The first option is Amazon Fraud Detector. Amazon Fraud Detector is designed to detect potentially fraudulent online activities such as online payment fraud, creation of fake accounts, but this is not specifically focused on tracking access attempts to AWS services. That is more of AWS CloudTrail feature. That is why Amazon Fraud Detector is not the correct option. The next is Amazon CloudTrail. AWS CloudTrail records AWS API calls and events for your account, and it will provide a history of AWS API calls made by users, role, and services. This is ideal for tracking access attempts and identifying unauthorized users trying to invoke Amazon Bedrock. Hence, AWS CloudTrail is the correct answer for this question. Let's review other two options. Amazon Guard Duty. Guard Duty provides threat detection and continuous monitoring for malicious activity and unauthorized behavior across your AWS environment. However, it is more focused on detecting threats and anomalies rather than providing detailed log of access attempts. Hence, Amazon Guard Duty is also not the correct option. The last option is Amazon Inspector. Amazon Inspector helps improve the security and compliance of applications deployed on AWS by automatically accessing applications for vulnerabilities or deviation from best practices. It does not track access attempts. Hence, Amazon Inspector is also not the correct option, and that leads to AWS CloudTrail is the correct option for this question. If you like this video so far and enjoying our content, on behalf of Cloud Expert Solution team, I would like to request your 30 seconds to hit the subscribe button if you haven't so far. If you have already subscribed to our channel, we sincerely thank you from bottom of our hearts. Please click on the bell icon to get notifications about our upcoming content, and please share this content with your friends and families who are interested to learn and understand AI/ML fundamentals. We are thrilled by the positive feedbacks we have received from many of our viewers. It motivates us to continue creating premium content for you. Please share your thoughts in the comments. Together we can make learning accessible to everyone. Let's navigate to question number 16. An online retail organization wants to use a large language model (LLM) on Amazon Bedrock to analyze customer sentiment on product reviews. The organization wants to classify the sentiment of the reviews text as positive or negative. Which prompt engineering strategy meets these requirements? In terms of important phrases, we need to analyze customer sentiment, and we need to classify the review text as positive or negative, and we need to use prompt engineering strategies. Let's review the options. Option number 1 is saying Provide the new text passage with a few examples of unrelated tasks such as text summarization or question answering. This approach will confuse the model and it will not aid in sentiment classification. Hence, this is not the correct option. The next option is saying provide a detailed explanation of sentiment analysis and how LLM works in the prompt. This is informative, but this is not practical for model training. We don't want to give any theoretical lecture or theoretical lesson to the model. Hence, this is also not a correct option. Option number 3 is saying provide examples of text passages with corresponding positive or negative labels in the prompt followed by the new text passages to be classified. This approach provides clear examples that can help the model understand and perform the sentiment classification accurately. Hence, this is a potential correct option. Let's review the last option. Provide the new text passage to be classified without any additional context or example. This approach lacks guidance for the model, hence, the model will not be able to predict the positive and the negative sentiment properly. That is why this is also not a correct option, and that leads to option number 3 provide examples of text passages with corresponding positive or negative labels in the prompt followed by the new text passages to be classified is the correct answer. Navigating to question number 17. A small startup company wants to create an application by using large language models from Amazon Bedrock. The organization has limited budget and prefers flexibility without any long-term commitment. Which Amazon Bedrock pricing model meets the organization's requirement? In terms of important phrases, the organization has limited budget and they prefers flexibility without any long-term commitments. Limited budgets means they cannot pay upfront and they cannot provide a long-term commitment, and we need to identify which is the bedrock pricing model. The first option is saying spot instances. Spot instances are Amazon EC2 pricing model. This is not applicable for Amazon Bedrock, hence this is not a correct option. Option number 2, provision throughput. Provision throughput requires a time-based commitment and the organization does not want any long-term commitment. For provision throughput, you need to provide 1 to 3 years of users commitment. That is why provision throughput is not the correct option. Option number 3 is model customization. Model customization is not a pricing model. We are looking for Amazon Bedrock pricing model. That is why option number 3 is incorrect. And option number 4 is on demand. On demand provides flexibility and cost efficiency without any long-term commitment, which is suitable for an organization who has limited budget and cannot pay upfront. That is why on demand is the correct option for us. Navigating to question number 18. A financial organization wants to use a large language model, LLM, to develop a conversational agent. The company wants to prevent the LLM from being manipulated with common prompt engineering techniques to perform unintended actions or expose sensitive information. Which action will reduce this risk? In terms of important phrases, we need to prevent the LLM from being manipulated. That means we need to prevent prompt hijacking, which can lead us to expose sensitive informations or generate unintended content. In terms of options, the first option is saying decrease the number of input tokens on invocation of the large language model. This option will limit the input size but does not prevent manipulation. Hence, this is not the correct option. Option number 2 is saying increase the temperature parameter on invocation request to the LLM. Temperature parameter increases the randomness of the response. This is not related to security. Hence, this is also not the correct option. Option number 3 is saying create a prompt template that teaches the LLM to detect attack patterns. This approach directly addresses the need to prevent manipulation by training the model to recognize and ignore malicious inputs. Hence, option number 3 is potentially correct option. Option number 4 is saying avoid using LLMs that are not listed in Amazon SageMaker. This is important for trust but does not prevent prompt engineering attacks. Hence, this option is also not the correct option, and that leads us create a prompt template that teaches the LLM to detect attack patterns is the correct answer for us. Navigating to question number 19. A medical research institute maintains a database of X-rays, CT scans, and MRIs. The organization aims to automatically identify and categorize these medical images into different cancer stages without manual intervention. Which strategy meets these requirements? In terms of important phrases, we need to identify and categorize these medical images. That means we are looking for a classification model which can differentiate cancer stages without any manual interventions. And let's review the options. The first option is saying in painting. In painting technique can fill in missing image parts, but this is not related to object detection. Hence, in painting is not the correct option. Option number 2 is anomaly detection. Anomaly detection identifies outliers that is not suitable for image classification or image categorization. That is why anomaly detection is also not the correct option. Option number 3 is object detection. Object detection is specifically designed to identify and categorize objects within images that make it ideal for recognizing and categorizing cancers in different stages or cancer cell in these images. Hence, object detection is the correct answer. Last option is named entity recognition. Named entity recognition works with text, not with images. Hence, named entity recognition is also not the correct option. That leads to object detection is the correct option for this question. Navigating to question number 20. A global online retail brand wants to use a foundation model to design a search application. The search application must handle user queries that have text and images. Which type of foundation model should the global online brand use to power the search application? In terms of important phrases, here we have to handle user queries that have text and images. That is, it will have multiple modality and you need to support text and images. These are the two different types of modality. Now let's review the options. The first option is multimodal embedding model. These models are designed to handle and integrate both text and image data. That makes it ideal for search application that need to process query with multiple modality. Hence, multimodal embedding model is the potential correct answer for us. Let's park it and review other options. Second option is text embedding model. Text embedding model only processes text data, but we need modality of text and images. Hence, this is not the correct answer. The third option, multimodal generation model, although option number 2 and option number 3 is quite similar multimodal model, but please remember multimodal generation model focuses on generating content not optimized for search. We need to create an application that can handle search. Hence, multimodal generation model is not the correct option for us. And the last option is image generation model. Image generation model only processes image data, but we need text and images or different modalities. Hence, image generation model is also not the correct option. And that leads us multimodal embedding model is the correct option for question number 20. If you have watched the entire video, thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. Apologies for my bad throat. I know it might have affected the audio quality. I also understand that Cloud Expert Solution editing team may face challenges while editing this video and might need additional time to publish it. Thank you once again for your patience and support. Please stay tuned and explore other modules from the Bootcamp playlist for a comprehensive understanding of the topics required for the certification. That wraps up this module. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more update, and feel free to drop any question or feedback in the comments. We would love to hear from you. I hope this session helped you gain a deeper understanding and brought you one step closer to your learning goals. Thank you very much for watching and learning with us at Cloud Expert Solution. See you in the next module.